So to people who think academic freedom is obviously this really important thing, and obviously science should be pursuing truth, we look at these statistics and we're like, well, shit, like this is really bad. Women are potentially causing problems in science and academia. But when women see these statistics, they're like, finally, like we're saving it. We're making it a safe place for everyone. And we're making sure that science does good. It doesn't do harm. And there's another paper that looked at this, like the priorities of scientists. They have this sort of like basic interest in understanding the world and like figuring out what's true and figuring out how things work. Whereas women do science because they want to cause good in the world. So their motivation is, I want to know the truth, but I only want to know the truth if it's going to help me help other people. Which means that any truth that doesn't help me help other people, and especially any truth that potentially could harm other people, is not valuable. And we should not be pursuing it in science and academia. So if you look at the trajectories of women in academia, or if you look for men and women, if you look at men, I think it actually goes ever so slightly up. But for women, it's like huge. They were a very, very small minority decades ago, not even all that long ago. But in the past few years, women are dominating at the undergraduate level, way more women than men. There are more women in graduate school, and now there are actually more women who are faculty as well. So you went from an institution that was run almost entirely by men, and the people in the institution were almost all men too, because the students were men too. And now it's a majority of women. And I don't want to say it's the only cause. I don't think it is the only cause, but I do think it is probably a primary contributor to a lot of the cultural shifts that have been happening in the past 10 years, because they all prioritize the values of women. So if you look at stuff, for example, people wanting to do these trigger warnings when they're teaching topics in class. If you look at the cases of scholars getting attacked or fired or harassed on social media for studying, potentially controversial topics, those are skyrocketing. If you look at these editorial changes in academic journals, which maybe some of your listeners won't be familiar with, but there have been some of the most prominent or most prestigious journals in all of science, the Nature Springer family of journals, that have put out a series of editorials over these past few years saying that they would not publish and potentially would retract science that has like potential to, I think one of the phrasing was undermine the dignity of human social groups, whatever that means. And so it's all of these like harm concerns and these concerns about protecting vulnerable people that are starting to interfere with a process that at least at one point was supposed to be, well, we're going to pursue the truth, if it hurts some people's feelings, so be it. That's not what we're concerned with. We're concerned with, finding out what is empirically correct about the world and sharing that information with our students. And so if you look at all these, and then the growing, the bloated DEI, what do you call them? Initiative divisions, whatever they have at these universities, all of these things are, they all kind of concern the things that women would be worried about. And so you're getting this exact pattern happening at the same time women are essentially taking over academia. And now they're probably holding more positions of power. They're the editors at these journals. They're the presidents of the professional societies. They're the administration. I think changing the gender composition of academia, I think pretty much has inevitable consequences that are going to prioritize the interests of women, which are to protect the vulnerable from harm. And they're also way more egalitarian. So they want everyone to kind of have the same outcomes, whereas men are more hierarchical. They're more comfortable with like some people are going to be better at things than other people, and those people are going to get benefits for that. I've known women who, I know a lot of women in academia, and a lot of them are like pained by the process of grading. Like they don't want to give anyone a D, but that's kind of part of the process. If you just give everyone an A, it sort of loses its meaning. But that's painful to women to not have everyone be thriving equally all the time.